Here we are back with Steve Jones from the Hardscape channel and Jay LaCharite from InterPave. Did it?
Got it.
Sweet Jesus. Still gotta have the beer.
3 times lucky.
Yeah. Anyway, Jay, one of the biggest issues that we have in our industry, our hardscaping industry, like probably any contracting industry, is labor, labor costs. And when I talk to a lot of my customers, they, especially in a downturn economy down here in the States, we get these guys that, everyone's fighting for work, and they bid to get work, and they bid ridiculous numbers, and it can only be out of pure ignorance, which is a curable disease. But they bid because they don't know that they're losing money every time they lay a paver.
Yeah, that's common everywhere. We had our economy the last 10 years has been pretty strong, but 10 years before that was ugly, really ugly, and you just shake your head sometimes at the numbers that are out there. Even now, right now, we've got a little bit of capacity. There's still a lot of work, but there's a little bit of overcapacity, and the numbers are just all over the place right now. I try to keep my numbers at a nice steady place, and you can't do that. You just can't. The numbers are all over the place, and you just know looking at the numbers that you've got X amount of dollars in there that are hard, and that you can't do anything about, no matter who you are. Your materials cost. Nobody gets a deal on the materials. Nobody gets a deal on the cartage. The only thing in there is your labor. So something's happening in the labor.
So you're either cheating your laborers, you're cheating the government by not paying the wages that you're supposed to,
or you're cheating your
tax,
customer.
Or you're busy spending your own money going out of business.
Yeah.
And what I see is on many contractors is they take the inherent value, the asset value of the equipment and things they own, and squeeze that. They don't even know they're doing it. Their equipment's being degraded and depreciated, and they think that's profit.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, and years and years ago, I was as stupid and as guilty as anyone for doing that. Luckily, as my business grew, I was forced to understand costs.
Yeah.
I had to learn depreciation and amortization, and accounting codes and things like that, and all these things most contractors don't want to even think about because it's really not part of their mindset.
Yeah.
So when the competition is out there and they start bidding on work and they're bidding it, they say, if I do it lower than him, then I know I can do a better job and I can squeeze the profit out where he couldn't.
I think they get trapped into that. The most important thing is making it all, and they lose sight of that. They get trapped into this. They have to get the job. The job is the most important. Get the job, and you just see that all the time, and they forget that precisely what you say. They're spending their own money going broke.
And it's unfortunate because a lot of these guys are really quite good and they're passionate about the hardscape business, and they literally commit a business suicide because they don't know better. And every business supplier I know is willing to step forward and help a customer when he doesn't understand these things. But I believe, and I can talk about how guilty I am in so many things, but unwilling to ask for help, unwilling to accept advice, unwilling to think it needs to be done a different way is it.
Well, I think anybody that's in business is foolish to have that attitude, because I've learned more just by I learned more about my business by listening to the guys that have worked for me coming through my business. And I've thrown out a lot of ideas, but I've accepted a lot of ideas. I mean, I'm not the only brain around. I mean, you've got a crew of people. You'd be surprised at the suggestions that come out of some of those people. There's an awful lot of pretty good thoughts rattling around in people's heads, even when you don't expect it.
Well, and sometimes it's hard, and you need to encourage that sort of expression or input from the people that you work with.
Oh, yeah. And if you do that too, you get them more involved.
I
always try to.
Then they have ownership,
Then they have, exactly.
Even if they don't own a part of the company, they have ownership of the idea and the fact that it was used and the fact that they're appreciated and they have value.
Well, that's very satisfying to them if, when their suggestions get used in order to solve a problem, make something go a little bit easier. I mean, the guys that are on the wheelbarrow know a lot more about moving that material in than the guy that's not on the wheelbarrow. The same whether it's a loader or what. That's where your talent is. Use your people.
Yeah, exactly.
The strength of your company is your people. It's not me. It's not my customer. It's everything, and the labor is a big part of it.
And yeah, and they have to be treated well, and but there are also times when I see that people refuse to move some of their people off along. Like for example, if you have problem people and they wait too long to move them out of the company, because some of those people that kind of bring this little dark cloud with them wherever they go throughout the company, and it affects everybody. It's like a little bit of emotional cancer that runs through the company.
Yes.
And you always have, at least in my case, I know I've always had, you can't call me a real softy here, but I do have a place in me that I feel for the people that work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't always want to be so harsh as to just axe somebody.
No, it's probably the hardest thing you have to do in business is letting somebody go. I certainly don't enjoy it.
Who does the human resources at InterPave?
Bill and I.
Well, at least you get to share it.
Well, it's usually a pretty clear-cut decision when you have to let somebody go. We're pretty forgiving. Our criteria nowadays, it seems, if a guy shows up on time, he's not drugged out or something, that's huge. There's nothing worse than the fellows that don't come in, or they come in half an hour late every day, or you're running a 3-man crew when the third guy doesn't show. I mean, your other 2 guys are carrying it. So for me, it's a very simple operation. If my foreman's not happy with him, I'll try him with another crew. And if that foreman's not happy with him, then we're not happy with him, and he's gone. Because the whole crew is affected by that, and you can't have that.
Have you ever experienced or had the situation where you've had an employee that you were maybe afraid to let go because you thought it might impact your business?
Not really, no.
I've seen a lot of companies, smaller ones, that think they have, like, their key man gets away with tremendous amount of BS within the company.
We've been quite lucky. I know the scenario, and we have been quite lucky. We've had a few instances, but never to the point where you really had to do something about it. But we do watch that, because that kind of behavior becomes a cancer that you're talking about.
Well, sure.
Very, very quickly. Everybody gets treated the same. Well,
and nobody's indispensable.
And ultimately, nobody is indispensable.
I know there's been a few instances where we've had to let people go at our company, and it's always an unpleasant decision, that HR thing, when you do it. And it's even more unpleasant when you need that help, whether it's that person or not. So then you go through the process of interviewing and hiring and that sort of thing. And that in itself takes its toll on whoever's handling the HR.
Yes. Yeah. In our end, we're small, so we do our own HR. We don't have an HR person. We're much too small a company for that.
Me too.
And but it does. It takes a lot of time. It's very stressful. It's all of a sudden now you got to spend a lot of time retraining people. Cost of the biggest expense on people is bringing them up to speed. It takes quite a while before you make any money off them, because they have a learning curve like everybody else.
Exactly.
You've got to bring them on board. You've got to introduce them to your culture. I think that's important. They've got to do things your way. And I know with the amount of people out there, I almost find it easier to hire fresh people rather than experienced people.
Oh.
Because
you mean in the actual construction
in
side?
the actual construction. In the contracting end, in installing the pavers, because there's so many people that have been poorly trained by their past employers. They're doing things wrong, and trying to get them over that hump.
That's difficult.
Is, a person's been doing it for 4 or 5 years, and well, this is not the way we do it, and this is why we do it this way. And you go back the next day, and he's done it his way again. That's very difficult.
Well, and that always either has to change, or you have to change personnel.
Exactly.
So yeah, and that goes back to trying to get the field superintendents or the foreman introduce new techniques and stuff onto the crews with maybe new equipment and stuff, there's always seems to be a resistance from anybody's company. When I used to be able to travel a lot, I'd get invited a lot to go visit companies and basically talk to their employees about why they weren't using particular types of equipment to their advantage or at all. And a lot of them go, because we don't want to. I says, well, fellas, it's really not your choice. The boss makes the choices for you. You just have to learn how to implement it. He's doing it for your benefit. And, you need to be more open to these sorts of things. If you try it and it doesn't work, fine, so what? Then don't do it anymore. But I can't imagine, so many times I've gone to a company where our equipment sits on the shelf, still in the box. The foreman refused to take it out. And I'm just going, well, first I can't understand that, and I won't name names, that the owner didn't take it a little bit further than that. But then the question is, why would you have a foreman that's unwilling to do what you ask him to do that's only for his benefit? So we struggle through that in our industry and with many contractors. And leadership, both from the front office and in the field, is an important part of a successful company.
Oh, very much so. Your labor's your key, though. If you can just get the right guys and keep them around, and that's another end of things is trying to keep your labor now. Your labor is so mobile, and there's always a better opportunity around the corner.
You're right, and I think the culture of companies has a lot to do with longevity.
Yes.
Because they become part of the culture, and they're quite comfortable there. They're happy there. It isn't a question about how to keep them happy. If they're part of the culture, they will help make
the culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're part of it.
They become a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We work really hard at keeping our guys, just keeping them, and we've got hockey tickets, and that buys you an awful lot of loyalty. There's nothing, the boys come through for you. Hockey tickets are hard to get home. To get at home.
Really?
Oh,
you're just not getting them, huh?
No. We've got seasons tickets.
Well, we got lots of tickets down in Minnesota. The Vikings, I know you want hockey, but we got Vikings tickets. I'll give you some. That's right. We can't give them away to the Americans. So.
But the fellows will, they do a good job for you. There's nothing like dropping a couple of tickets on them as a thank you for a good job, and that goes a long way. It goes a lot further than money. Something like that. So
that's a good point that you bring up, because there's a lot of people I know that hand out $100 here, $50 there, or something to their guys, and to me that shows. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I mean, it's better to.
I think it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
They expect it all the time, very quickly, but they don't expect. For whatever reason, they don't seem to expect the hockey tickets all the time.
Hockey tickets or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
maybe a gift certificate to a hotel for them and their wives for a weekend down at the hotel downtown. Yeah. Anything like that at least has thought and feeling behind it.
Yes. Money's a little too cold, I think.
Yeah, it's a little cold. I think it shows a lack of interest.
I think so. I agree with that.
Now, on some of my employees, like around Christmas time, I said, what do anything that you guys are looking for? And they kind of go, well, last year you gave us some gift certificates, some of these gift cards,
Yeah.
Kind of like those. I go, okay, that's easy. I said, done. But we can do something else. But they were happy with that. So,
well, we always put together a Christmas night. We take all our crew out. We all go out for a hockey game, and then we take them down for dinner and have too much to drink, and then we make sure they get home by a safe method, so they're not on the roads. You don't want to go
That's
down
the
that
important
road.
thing. Yeah, you don't want to lose employees by getting them killed on the highway or arrested either.
Or arrested, or having them hurt somebody else.
Oh no, that's
No, but the guys look forward to that. They talk about it all year long. There's always something that'll happen. The guys get together and they have a great time. Every once in a while we have a fight. And
that's okay too.
That's okay too. Those stories last forever. So.
Forever.
And there's your culture. That's how your culture gets formed in your company is with those things. So we found them valuable.
Well, Jay, it's been wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do these number of interviews with us. And
you're welcome.
We'll have to go down and drink a beer or something.
We might.
All right. This is Steve Jones with J. LaCharite signing off.